How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech, and also to my look at the Deathstalker V2 from Razer, which is a low-profile, ultra-slim, optical, mechanical RGB keyboard. Now, could the Deathstalker V2 be the low-profile keyboard to get? Well, we're gonna find out. So I have reviewed a couple of low-profile keyboards in the past, and usually the comments is either for people who hate low-profile keyboards or who really like them. Now, for the people who actually like them, it seems to be that they want primarily a keyboard for office type of work instead of gaming as the main focus, because the low profile switches are a lot similar to what their laptops usually use. So you have the same type of feel when typing. So that's definitely understandable. And then gaming is going to be the second factor when you get home and you want to game out. So you do have that option as well. Now, you currently do get a standard model for the V2 here, and then also the Pro model, which is then just a wireless, as well as a TKL, a 10 keyless Pro model also, which I think could actually work really nicely. Now, before we get in any further, I want to hear from you guys. Do you actually like or dislike low profile keyboards, and why? I'm pretty curious to hear what everybody's thoughts are on the low profile keyboards, because it's always a mixture of, again, love and hate and everything. So I'm curious to hear. Now, for me personally, I do actually quite like the low profile switches, but I'm very selective. It needs to be perfect. Otherwise, I'm definitely not gonna like it that much. So yeah, that's just me personally. Now, pricing wise, the Deathstalker is not the cheapest at $200 or 4,100 Rand for here in South Africa, while the Pro version is going for $250 or 5,200 Rand. Now, in comparison, there is a lot of other options that you can also get from competitors, but it does look like the price ranges is either between like $200 for the higher end or $60 for the lower end. And you do also have some cheaper options from Razer as well for the low profiles. So you do have some options that you can actually choose between. Now, the Deathstalker V2 has a thin, sleek, and modern design while still feeling pretty solid, even though it does have a big amount of a deck flex, and also it does have some flex to the body as well, but actually less than I would have thought, especially for something again this thin. Now, the keyboard does have more of a minimalistic look to it. There's no crazy gaming things going on instead of the RGB, but you can turn that off. We'll get into that. And because of that, it'll fit in very well in also a home and office environment, but well as your gaming setup at night when you want to game out with your RGB on. But otherwise, you can just put it on a static color and it's going to work perfectly inside an office and not draw too much attention. Now, you don't have any dedicated macro keys, which is a plus and also a minus, but luckily inside the software, you can actually create your own macros and assign them to different keys. However, you do still have your volume wheel and also a multi-press button for controlling a media playback, where double tap is going to play and pause and so on, triple tap. Now, as for the keycaps, they are ABS plastic rather than the higher quality PBT, which is unfortunate. For the price point, I would have liked a PBT instead. However, the keycaps are a laser edge, so the characters won't wear off after a time, and also they do feel smooth to the touch and they seem durable enough. Now, this is also where there's a difference between some low profile keyboards where you get either the square switches, which does have a lot more gaps in between the keycaps, or the more sloping ones like we have here. Unfortunately, I can't compare them right now as I don't have an additional low profile keyboard with square keycaps, but I do feel like the square ones are going to be a lot closer to what my laptop uses, and because I'm so used to typing on my laptop, that's just going to feel a bit more at home when using those instead of these. But also, luckily, if you don't like the keycaps at all, you can actually replace them with the square ones, so you do have that option as well. Now, the main reason for purchasing a low profile gaming keyboard is, of course, for the shorter key travel and also faster switches. With the V2 here, you do get two switch options, the clicky or the linear switches, while my sample here has linear switches. Now, Razer opted to go all out here with the Deathstalker V2, including opto-mechanical linear switches. So instead of just normal mechanical switches, it actually has a laser in between, optical laser, which usually is a lot faster. Now, some people like them, some people don't. I did personally love them on the Huntsman, But again, everything is going to be up to you. If you like them, if you don't, same case goes here. Now again, I don't have any other switches to compare directly to right now, but I do feel that these switches are a bit too sensitive for me personally. The reason for that is because I'm not the greatest of typers, so I do mispress slightly quite a bit, and because also of the keycaps, just mispressing slightly will actually actuate then a different key. And because of the lower travel distance and the faster actuation point, that will mess up a key press every now and then. So need to backspace and go back. That does hinder the workflow a slight bit. But again, if you're a great typer, that's not going to be a problem. It's just for me personally. Now, of course, the faster switches is nice for gaming, so it does have at least a positive side there. However, when not mistyping and actually typing properly, it's actually very nice with a low travel distance again, which just feels faster when typing, especially compared to the full-size switches. Could just be me, but it actually does feel slightly faster. Now, something to mention, if you haven't used a similar keyboard before, just be mindful of the shallower switches where they feel somewhat lighter. If you come from a heavier switch keyboard, then they might feel like way too light for you. So just be mindful of that. But from my use case, in less than a day, I was really accustomed to it already. So it's not a problem to actually adjust quickly to it, especially if you are a majority laptop user. The V2 is actually just as thick as my Aero OLED laptop, which makes it even easier just to adapt to. So I didn't have a problem at all. And actually it does fit pretty well just in between the cable here and the rest of the keyboard. So it worked really nice for me. Now, as for gaming, it did perform well overall, but for me again personally, I still like my full size switch options, especially because the gaps in between the switches, there's a bit more space there. So if I slightly misprice, I'm not gonna accidentally reload while in a firefight. So that might happen with these, so again, faster switches and also the lower actuation. So just be mindful of that. But just like all other keyboards, everything is going to be up to your personal preference. Luckily, we do have so many different options. Again, not only the switches, but you can get different keycaps as well. But now here's just a quick sound test of how these optomechanical linear switches sound. All right, so finally getting to the RGB and also the software. Just like all of the other Razer keyboards out there, it's just really good. It's bright, it's vibrant, and I don't have anything bad to say about Razer's RGB. That's usually the case. Software is also very good. Now you can control everything through the Synapse through software, and also you have all of the basic controls that you have for your RGB, all of the preset RGB effects. You can even create your own ones. So there's a lot going on there. With the software, you can even remap again some of the keys and create your own macros, where you don't have any of the dedicated macro keys, but you can reassign some of the other keys to something else. So you do have that option, plenty of control. So then in conclusion, the Deathstalker V2 will definitely not be for everybody, but for the people who do like low profile keyboards, the V2 is certainly an option to look at. It is a well built up product with a sleek appearance and also of course gorgeous RGB lighting. The only downside is going to be the price point for me. Razer does make a premium products, but because of that they will also add a premium price for that also. And seeing that there's a lot more options these days, both for wired and wireless low profile keyboards, especially around the $60 price point, it's hard to fully recommend the V2, especially in today's financial situations where a lot of people are kind of struggling. But like always, I'm just here to give you guys all of my thoughts and help you actually decide on which will be the best option for you. But again, overall, good keyboard, bit pricey. I'm not the craziest fan about the switches, but personal preference right there. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment like always. Big shout out to Razer and Apex for sending the keyboard over for a review. If you guys want to get it for yourself, I will leave links in the video description for the V2 and also V2 Pro. So you do have those options. But anyway, thanks for watching guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll check all of you guys next time. Cheers guys.